Alex Martin finds his stride to his right. He couldn't. So Dreyer cuts it back in, filters it to Chucky! Golazo! Chucky! Irving! Chucky Lozano with Chuk! Boom!
Welcome into the official SDFC podcast. I'm Kaila Burns-Hefner here with Sal Zizzo, Marvell win, coming off of a 5-0 win versus FC Dallas at home at Snapdragon Stadium. The largest margin of victory for San Diego FC is so far this season and snapping FC Dallas's 6-game road win streak. Guys, how was your weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that part was great. I coached my daughter's girls 2017 birth year team, Sporting San Diego. We got runner-up in a tournament this year, this past weekend. And but yeah, it was a good weekend. Had some frustrations in some of the games with referees, but I had to remind myself we're at an 8-year-old little girl's game, so no need to punch water bottles or anything like that. So
says who?
Yeah, exactly. Says who, Marv. So, but that was a fun experience for us. And Marv, let's hear from you. So you got to do the radio. How was that?
I did the radio broadcast up top with Adrian, who's awesome to work with. Adrian's such an awesome dude. It was a lot of fun. I was out of my element. You'd imagine someone who doesn't like the sound of their own voice doing podcasts and radio analyst, but it was a fun and cool experience. I mean, it was fun to watch the game. It was fun hearing him do the broadcast himself, doing the play-by-play. So hopefully he'll be able to do it again. Yeah, I just like work with Adrian. It was just fun up there. Yeah, you get a chance to do that, don't you? Coming up?
Yeah, I'll be doing it in a few weeks.
That's
Look
right.
at you
And
guys
he has
go.
experience, so listen into that one.
Well, you guys are in for a treat because we've clipped off one of Marv's calls for you to hear. Let's hear it.
That's an SDFC goal for me. They played it out the back. They have the pressure coming at them, but they want to draw their other team into their 18. Couple passes, couple touches, threw out, and then we got Chucky making the run behind. That was a beautiful SDFC goal.
And that, my friend, Marvell win segundo. Anders Dreyer's vision made that happen.
This man is smart. He's very clever on the ball. He has a lot of ticky-tacky touches. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass. Very important player. Very important. He's doing well so far.
Marvell wins
How'd that feel, Marv?
segundo.
Oh god! So
You're sweating over there. Relax.
So
Can we get a
This
fan
is the
over
first
here?
time that he has heard back his call for the
That's
for
the
the
first time
record.
he's ever heard his voice.
That's the first time I've ever heard my voice. I'm wondering why I'm so breathy. Like, Jesus Christ, why is it like? Why am I so breathy? I don't know why. Anyway, but see, yeah, he was very ticky-tacky, and he could dribble the ball, he could pass the ball, he could shoot the ball. That's just something that you want to see these players do. It's a very good SDFC goal. I agree with what I said.
Yeah.
I guess I could have said it better, more oomph, as Adrian would have called me. And he loved calling me Marvell win segundo, which I love.
I like that too,
I
yeah.
am the second, so he's like,
Yeah.
Marvell win segundo.
Oh, he watched your dad, right? Play baseball.
Yeah, he
on
watched
the
my dad a
podcast,
little
yeah.
bit. He started definitely talking to me about memories about Tony Gwynn and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, he's just a lover of all sports.
Yeah.
So it was great. talking to him.
Encyclopedia.
For those of you guys who don't know, Marvell Wynn's father actually played for the Padres. Do you want to tell us a little bit of insight on that? Just share the story.
Yeah, I'll share a little bit. So my dad played professional baseball for the Pirates, Padres, and Cubs, and then in Japan, the Hanshin Tigers for about 2 years. And we got to make a lot of good close friends. I used to remember going to the dugout in the locker room, all the bazooka bubblegum you could ever want, sunflower seeds. And then, honestly, I couldn't really tell you if it was a lot of, my dad just hit an RBI or anything like that. Because, I was running around, I was like 4 or 5 years old. But one little thing was my dad, Tony Gwynn, and John Kruk were the first 3 players to ever start off a season with 3 consecutive home runs. And they actually made a stamp of it a few years back. So,
No way.
Did they?
yeah, so that was actually pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Something like saying about my dad.
Can we stat check this? Because I remember after that, it must have been, I don't even know, early 2000s or something like that. But I could have sworn on opening day the Padres had back-to-back home runs.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ricky Henderson, Kjolvio Veras, and there has to be one more, and I can't think. And you guys probably have no idea who the second guy is, but as a Padre fan growing up, I'm pretty sure they hit back-to-back, but I don't know if it was on opening day. But I remember it as a kid, and that was obviously post the Marvell win senior era. But
We are 7 episodes in, and Sal is stat checking
Oh,
Marvell
yeah.
winning
Can
on
we
his
get a
own
stat check? Can we get-
childhood. This is crazy. Well, we have a lot of exciting things coming up for you guys in this pod. We'll have a conversation with assistant coach Frank Hjortebjerg to talk about just everything that he saw in this most recent match, and also leading into our match preview presented by Alaska Airlines for the match at St. Louis City this weekend. We'll also have a conversation with goalkeeper CJ Dos Santos. But first, I want to hear from you guys your insight on just everything you saw in this match, this 5-0 win over FC Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, 5-0. What a result from the scoreline. Obviously, amazing. When I look at the game as a whole and I watch it back, I thought San Diego FC looked the part, looked like they got back to playing like themselves. For sure, there were still moments where they're going to, give the ball away in bad situations. Luckily, they weren't punished for that in this game. And that's soccer, right? I mean, there's some games where you get punished early or you give up that tying goal early, and now it's a completely different game. And that game does probably end 5-0. But we put away all our chances pretty much that we had. We looked good. Anders, the playmakers came out and just put the team on their back. Mighton had a great game. Anders, Lozano, everyone in the middle, back line was solid. Even Milan Ilowski coming in, scoring a great fifth goal, which was cool to see. Kind of he created that even from his own end with a great first touch and then playing it wide. But
Grab the crest.
Yeah, I grabbed the crest. So
I think
from
one
San
of my
Diego.
favorite moments actually of that game was being able to see local guys score a goal and then
Escondido
run
native,
into the supporter section
I
and
know.
celebrate with the
Marv,
fans.
I heard Marv was crying in the radio booth.
I should have clipped that call.
No,
Fact
but
check that.
just in general though, like what a performance. Got back on track at home. We talked about they got to get back on track. They're still right in the thick of things, and overall just a great game.
Yeah, it's an all-around great game, and the goods and the bads still look like SDFC because we, like you said, we still gave away those passes in pivotal areas. It's just that Dallas did not take advantage of it. And then when we went forward, you were talking about all the offensive players that did so well. I really thought Mighton was a menace out there. I think he did really, really well. And when it comes to the goal score lines, I mean, it's Chucky assisted by Anders, and then Tavares is assisted Anders and Chucky, and then it's just all three of them up top were just like bouncing off each other. So it really looks like there's a cohesion, if not on paper, something they can see on the pitch where they just are just moving around and just becoming a swarm and just attacking players from all different angles, making it difficult to track, laying off passes, dribbling forward. There was just a lot of offensive, almost terror. I would say about us. Like you could almost see that Dallas's defensive line was just always on the back of their heels, always wondering where the next attack's going to come from, and they could not track us, and it showed in the scoreline.
Yeah, it didn't matter who got in either, right? Like when Valakari came in, he gets on the score sheet. Obviously, we talked about Ilowski. Like it's crazy how interchangeable those 5 guys that all ended up on the stat sheet. With Mighton maybe not getting on the stat sheet, but getting that first penalty, deserved penalty against them, and like Marv said, being a menace. So all of them contributed entirely to that win. So really cool to see them get 3 points and bounce back, and hopefully that sets them right on track to keep going forward.
Yeah, and I think this to that point of the contributions coming from so many different personnel. We saw team of the match day had 2 players on it: Anders Dreyer and Irving Chucky Lozano, as well as Irving being player of the match day for match day 11 for across the league. You have 2 assists, 2 goals in that match. Anders had 2 assists, also scoring that goal. When you see numbers like that, obviously, it's going to lead to a good result.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat line. I mean, 2 goals, 2 assists in one game. That's nice.
Dangerous.
As a player, that's nice.
Yeah, what do you do to defend that? It's like, all right, if he gets the ball, he's going to want to shoot. No, because he can pass too, and they can get the ball back, or they'll dribble you. What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah,
Marv, you mentioned this earlier in the good and the bad. Mikey had a great post-match quote, just talking about no matter, the biggest result of that game wasn't the 5-0 win. It wasn't that the fact that, SDFC scored 5 goals. It was the fact that they played a complete game and put that, that performance out on the pitch. But I think he just said it here best.
What I can say is I'm just so proud of the boys, how they came together. They've been coming together, We said, in Spanish, we said, en las buenas y en las malas. We're always together, united with our conviction and our effort. And that's what they've been doing from day one. And we went through a little bit of a rough patch. And we also had good moments. And then now we bounce back, and we bounce back in a big way because we play a complete game. We play so brave. We play with intensity, collectivity. And it's always coming from the training ground, over and over again. Training the right way, having convictions and discipline for our structure, principles, for our effort, and for our game plan. And we need to use this as a catalyst to continue growing because we have other levels to go to.
When you watch the way we play, you can tell that those aren't just words. Like he says that we are together throughout. And I think you pointed this out when we were just talking offline and all that stuff, how there are certain players that have good games and bad games, but you're able to see the highlights. And then the coaches can see that and they put them back on the pitch saying mistakes are going to happen, but we have faith in you. We know that you did some things that were good, so we're going to need that for you next time. And it provides just a little bit of comfort for the players to have confidence to go out there and play the game that they want.
Yeah, no, I mean, you said it best right there. I think we've all been a young player on a squad where you make a mistake and you get pulled out. And so, when he says, we're all together, we went through a rough patch. For me, it's almost better that they went through the rough patch now and are getting hopefully out of it. Because it shows that strength and it shows that, willingness to, when you're on the bottom, to get back up and fight. And they've shown that in individual games, right? When they go behind, they come back, all those things. But getting those results when they're not going your way is a slippery slope, and a season can get away from you. And so to nip it in the bud now is huge. And it, from what I can tell, it seems like it starts with the coaching staff and it trickles down to the players, and everyone's on the same page, and resulted in us getting an important win.
Yeah, and the coaching staff has said that every game is a learning experience. So just because, we have this miraculous win doesn't mean we're going to do this every game. So they're going to learn and take away like the goods. There's still bads in a 5-0 win, and there's a lot of goods in the 5-0 win. So we're still going to use that, and we're going to keep moving forward, all learning process, and we're just going to become more of a complete team.
We'll hear more insight on everything that just happened in this match, as well as previewing our next match from assistant coach Frank Hjortebjerg. We'll also hear from CJ Dos Santos, so please stay tuned.
As the official specialty insurance partner of San Diego FC, Palomar offers standalone earthquake insurance that protects property and peace of mind. It's crucial to be prepared. Visit plmr.com or contact your insurance agent for a quote. Palomar, reimagining specialty insurance with innovative, creative solutions.
Hey everybody, this is Darren Smith. I host a radio show called SDFC Midweek Live. You can hear it Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock on San Diego Sports 760 and anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Join me, Adrian Garcia Marquez, Warren Barton, SDFC players and staff. It's the only hour on local radio dedicated 100% to San Diego Football Club and the beautiful game.
We are joined here by CJ Dos Santos, goalkeeper for San Diego FC. CJ, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on here.
Good to see you.
So for those who may not know a little bit, just share with us your background and kind of how you got to San Diego.
So I've been playing football my whole life, going from youth system of Philadelphia, Union Academy, going over to Benfica, then coming back to the MLS, playing with Inter Miami. And then I was there for 3 seasons. And then this past season got traded from Inter Miami over here to San Diego.
Nice. Saw some championships in your time in Miami, right?
Yeah, a couple of trophies.
Yeah,
a couple trophies in there. It was
All
such an amazing opportunity, such an amazing experience. Met some fantastic people, fantastic players. Got to just ride that wave through the Leagues Cup competition, through the Community Shield competition, and just going in through playoffs as well.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about your time in Benfica and going overseas and playing there.
So I started out there. I did a trial when I was 15 years old in 2015. And then in 2016, right when I turned 16, I signed a professional contract. And I was there from 16 to 21. So from 2016 until just right after 2022. So just another amazing experience. Got to meet some fantastic players. Got to see a different style from what I was used to over here in the States, a different perspective of how football is played, a different perspective of how training is, how competitive it can be. Because over there, you're literally competing against players that are 4 years younger than you and then 4 years older than you. So it's a huge pool of players, and all of those guys are playing at such a high level to this day. Even the guys that are younger than me, they're playing at such a high level.
Do you keep up with anybody from your time there that you still kind of follow their careers?
I used to train with Miles Villar, and he's over at Roma, starting for Roma, Europa League, Serie A. So he was one of my biggest inspirations coming out of that academy, because he's such a great guy, such an amazing athlete, such an amazing player. And just I got to learn from him a little bit, because he was the first team goalkeeper coming down and training and playing with the B team. So it was just a good opportunity for me to see what it was like to perform at that sort of level.
How's the structure at Benfica? Is it like just a first and a second team, or do they have like a U23 and then academy down from there, or how does it?
So when I first arrived there, it was all the way down from U9s, like the really, really youth players, all the way up until B team.
Okay.
And then by the time it was the 2019-2020 season, then in Portugal they created a U23.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, the Liga.
And so was the B team playing in like the third division of Portuguese football at the time?
They were playing in second division.
They were playing second division already.
Second division. Yeah. Okay. So you were literally from that point, you were playing with a U23 team playing in second division. And then the U23s was basically like the U19, U20s.
Got it.
Like those guys that were just turned 19, 20 years old, coming from the U19s. And there was a bit of a gap between the U19s and the B team.
Yeah.
So it was a great thing to have that U23 level, just so a bunch of those players don't fall through the cracks and fall through the filters, so they can still be involved in the training regimens.
Going back, I'm going to go back even further. So we're talking about inspirations. You were born in Kearney, New Jersey?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
You're from Philly. So.
On my whole youth, I was born and raised in Philadelphia. Went to school in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Played all the levels until 15 years old. Played at FC Delco when I was 12.
Delco, I remember that.
And then now it's Continental FC. I'm not sure if they changed it again, but when I was there, it was Continental FC. And then I went to U14 to U16 with the Philadelphia Union Academy.
There you go. They have a great academy program out there.
Fantastic.
Really?
They have.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they have
It's
a lot
amazing.
of top players. Obviously, with Colin Sullivan, but Sullivan that's there now. That's pretty big time. But they've had a lot of players.
Just from my generation, the 99s and 2000s, Mark McKenzie, Brendan Aronson, Anthony Fontana. I was a part of that. Nick Sessock, so a bunch of guys that are playing.
I was on Red Bull at the time when we were kind of going a lot against Philly. I think when you were probably the
main
youth
rivals
academy.
there. Rivals.
2015, 2016, all that year. So, I remember Philly's youth with Jim Curtin as the head coach. They did a good job integrating a lot of them to the first team.
From what you remember, could you say if there was like a secret sauce to like the academy doing so well, whether it was like all the coaches or all the players being bought in? So like, what about it was like that had you like, this is good, and then got you ready to go pro?
I just think it was overall the infrastructure of the club. Great facilities. We had the YC Academy, so you had all the guys from the Philadelphia Union Academy and some other players from other clubs from the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. So they would all come and go to this 8th grade through 12th grade. So we would have first and second period right before training at 10 a.m., lunch, more schoolwork, and then training again right in the afternoon. So it was a really, really amazing infrastructure that they built in. Coaching, they had nutritionists, they bought in everything, all the way from U14s all the way up into the first team.
Oh, that's great.
Does that excite you, getting to be a part of watching this academy system get built from like kind of your leadership role, like getting to see the potential opportunity for maybe some mentorship of some kids when they come into their own academy system here with Right to Dream?
Oh, 100%. Like what we have here really reminds me of the Union and Benfica style, where you have a residency program here, go to school, training, and then you have guys jumping in and around different levels from U14 to U16s, and then you have the U19s bouncing out between like a U23 level and then the first team level. So this is a really amazing infrastructure that we're starting to build, and it's really exciting to get to see what happens in the future here.
That's awesome. How has it been like for you adjusting to, moving to life in San Diego, and just kind of what have you been doing here to, adjust to this new journey?
I mean, I'm kind of used to bouncing around from place to place the last several years. So it's a bigger move going from East Coast to West Coast. Finally got some of the boxes unboxed just recently. So settling
way.
In all your free time, right?
Yeah, all the free time that I have, just seeing a few boxes lying around, you just want to.
You can keep your winter wardrobe locked away though.
Yeah, just keep it tucked away.
You're not gonna need those heavy coats
somewhere
anymore and the beanies and whatnot. So since you've been here, have you been able to go out and enjoy the beach, enjoy our little Mexican foods, carne asada fries, and all that stuff?
I went to Del Mar Beach, Coronado Beach. I really enjoy going up to Del Mar Beach. So that was
Nice,
probably
isn't it?
one of the nicer places that I've been to here in San Diego. I still have to branch out. The thing is with me, I like to have my 2 to 3 spots and I just rotate them.
Because you like them so much.
Yeah, I need to get some. I need to find some new places. So
Where are you guys living?
I live right down the street in La Mesa.
Oh, okay, La Mesa. Yeah.
But this city is not that big where it's
No,
not
you can
that
get anywhere.
far.
La
Yeah,
Mesa's
it's like
perfect.
within 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
not that bad.
Yeah, a lot of options in those 20 minutes.
A lot of options.
You'll find your 2 or 3, but hopefully one of the guys will be like, "Oh yeah, you want to go grab some lunch?" You'll end up with them, and then it's like, "All right, I'll add that to my little arsenal."
One of the top questions we get from fan submissions is always like, what's your favorite spot to eat in San Diego? Do you have one yet? Or are you still looking?
I definitely have to branch out, like I said. There's an Italian spot right on India Street.
Oh,
right
don't
next to
tell
Kenmore.
Sal that.
What's the name?
La Busa.
Hey!
That's the one.
We didn't pay him to say that.
Exactly. So that's my family's restaurant. So
No,
yeah.
Bro, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
You just
Fantastic.
made Sal's day.
Hey, my new
1000%.
favorite player on SDFC.
With the name like Sal,
Yeah,
like you
go
can only guess that it has to be involved in some sort of Italian
Love
restaurant.
that. I was like, Italian on India. Keep going.
Tell me more.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's one of the places. Like I'm a sucker for
Yeah,
for
it's good.
Italian
Good
food.
spot.
So I'm definitely gonna go back soon.
Yeah,
Definitely
awesome.
gonna go back soon.
Glad to hear that.
I didn't know that.
Next
before
time you go,
I didn't know that.
name drop me next time. But going back to soccer, so let's talk a little bit. I know Marv and I were curious about so obviously you handle the ball a lot with your feet. You need to be so much better. Goalkeepers, especially today, need to be so much better than they were 10 years ago with their feet. Obviously, goal kicks, getting past you off the start, all of that. Was that something that you were always comfortable with? Was it something that Benfica, their style of play, maybe did that teach you a little bit of that, or just walk us through the comfort level that you have with the ball at your feet?
Yeah, now this generation of goalkeeping, it's very much the modern day goalkeeper, where every attack starts with us, finishes with us, even with Ederson leading the way, the Alissons of the world leading the way in that sort of venture. I've always been really comfortable with the ball at my feet.
Yeah,
I used to be a midfielder in the youth, and I wasn't a full-on 100% goalkeeper until 11 or 12.
Okay.
But even then, like when I was younger, the coaches always wanted me to be involved with the style of play. It's very much like even the union, that it always started with us.
Good. Yeah.
And then Benfica just helped me take it to another level. Like they introduced a different dimension of goalkeeping, playing high off my line and being like a third center back almost in a lot of situations. And then here, just kind of refining my craft, and especially in this club, it's given me a lot of confidence to stay within my comfort zone within that style of play, but also expanding and evolving each and every game.
Yeah, no, you look incredibly comfortable on the ball. And
Appreciate that.
there was even moments where I think it was, I can't remember what game it was, but we spoke with, it was Tyler Heap. Tyler, maybe? I don't know. We spoke with someone and we mentioned, I think it was the end of the LAFC half when we were up on some of the plays. At the end of the half, we were up in the game, and we gave away a few balls towards the end, and we gave up a few goals right before halftime. And I was like, does it make sense there to go longer in certain moments? And I remember them saying, no, we actually were having conversations with CJ saying, hey, we need to play more out of the back in that situation. Yeah. And it was just crazy to me. So it just goes to show you like how much they are just really pushing you guys to play that style and not ever venture away from it. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, we actually had a few conversations, and they were saying how they almost want to put you in uncomfortable situations in training so often that you become comfortable with them. So it seems like your progression has worked up to this point almost perfectly, because first you were comfortable with your feet as a midfielder, then you go back as a keeper. You still need to play with your feet a little bit. And now even more so, they not only want you to just have the ball up at your feet with like a third center mid, but they actually want you to attract pressure and actually bring a guy to you in order to play out. And honestly, you've done really well in the back. So
Thank you.
So how big of a step, like what was the biggest step from either just being comfortable coming off your line, playing a little bit higher, to being to even the goal kicks where you can pass them inside the 18, to you getting the ball inside the 6 in front of your goal and then just baiting. Like that must have taken a long time. I'm thinking about it right now and I'm sweating.
Marv was a field player.
He doesn't like that much pressure on him.
I didn't like it.
Going forward, like the coaches and the staff have given me so much confidence to just play the way that they want us to play. But I think it was even just the other day where I received the goal kick from Patty and I'm just standing there waiting for the striker. And I'm literally just telling him, like, come closer, make it easy for me. Just make it easier for me. Because if they're closer to me, I'm the open man. You know, they're pressing with, let's say, 3 guys. And then with me, 2 center backs and the 2 pivots, it's a 5v3. So numbers are always like, football is a game of space and numbers. Mm-hmm. So overall, like, we always have the advantage. And if one guy is marking me, 1 to 2 guys are going to be open. Yeah. Always, usually always in most cases. Yeah. But if the pressure's on me, then that means somebody's open and I can make it easier on somebody else's. So if I can take a bit of that responsibility, take a bit of that pressure, that means that somebody else has an easier job.
Is that something San Diego saw in you that you were going to be good at based on you being at Inter Miami? I had Tata as a coach in Atlanta, so I know how much he likes to kind of work on goal kicks and building out the back. We did that so often in practice. But is that something that even in Miami, like, hey, this is a good player, he likes to play out of the back, that's the style of play we play over there, and it helped you then translate to here pretty much?
I think it would make sense because it's very similar styles of play. You know, having the personnel over there in Miami, you know, building out of the back is it's common sense for just the players around us. And then with the recruitment and the team that was built here, it's a no-brainer to just have that, you know.
You're playing a key role in this team. Obviously, you're one of 2 players that have played every minute for this team so far. Obviously, with your position, that makes sense. But what does it mean to you to get to play such a large role in an inaugural season for an expansion team?
It means the world to me just to have the opportunity. It's an absolute blessing to represent this city and to represent my family and all those that have supported me along the way. And I've worked really, really hard to get to this moment here. And, you know, there have been times where I haven't gotten certain opportunities at previous clubs, but, you know, just putting my head down, just keep working and keep grinding. You know, it brought me to this exact moment. And I'm so grateful, so blessed to be in the position that I'm in right now. And I've been saying this for a while now that in 100 years, you know, we'll all be gone, hopefully. People will figure something out. We'll last a little bit longer. But yeah, we'll all be gone in 100, 150 years' time. But our photo and our names on the wall here will be ingrained in history. And that's what this is all about, where, you know, fans can look out, just inspiring and motivating the next generation of players. That's what this is all about. So it's an absolute blessing to be a part of this club.
Yeah. Shout out to goalkeepers too, because I think it's the one position that a lot of people just don't realize the amount of hard work. You know, it's almost like you can compare it to like a backup NFL quarterback, but even maybe worse because it's so hard to get on the field.
Yeah. It's like
sometimes you're just bouncing around from team to team, and sometimes you get, you know, pegged as a backup, and then it's hard to break that mold and all those things, right? And so even from when you were 16, it's like you're waiting for that moment, that chance. Just give me that chance to be a starter, and I'm glad that you've earned that here, and hopefully, you know, for the next 6, 7, 8 years, you can just continue that on, and then go wherever your soccer journey takes you. But yeah, it's cool to see someone that has worked really hard in that position thrive. And now, you know, obviously it's going to be cool to see you going forward for the future.
Thank you. That means a lot to me, man. Thank you.
And not only on the defensive side, again, congratulations on the last shout out. 4 shout outs on the year. Congrats, man. So in terms of people just not understanding how much a goalkeeper has to do when they're back there, what's the communication like with your center backs, right backs when you're back there? I mean, I've had keepers that are constantly just chirping at any point, any time. But with you in the back, with someone, you know, really experienced like McNair are you still in control? Because you see the whole pitch. So are you another set of eyes for him, or does he usually take charge and you kind of just do your own thing in the back?
Growing up, I was always the guy that was always I was that goalkeeper that I was always talking. And then when I made my debut against Charlotte 2 seasons ago in front of 65,000 people, I can't even hear myself talk.
True.
That's a loud stadium.
So there are times, and even with this crowd over here, I can't even hear myself think sometimes, So it's about learning and getting that experience where I'm not saying too much, but I'm still being effective with my communication. That's the biggest thing. That was one of my goals for this year, in getting more experience and being able to be more effective, more efficient, saying less, but saying more at the same time. So it's about when the ball goes out of play, I take a little time to go to somebody, and then I pick their brain and I give my perspective, and we have a little conversation. When there are lulls in the game, during set pieces, I can go up to somebody and do that. Like on set pieces especially, I can be really effective because it's in such close quarters. So I can still be efficient in those situations. But when the ball is like further up on the field, it's a little bit difficult for me to be effective on the game. And that kind of just comes in training, so we can get that understanding and that we can bounce off of each other. So it's even with a look or just with a hand gesture, so they understand what I'm trying to say.
Especially when your team's such a high pressing team, they're so much further away from you. It's tough to scream at the back line to shift when they're 50 yards away from you. But
yeah, it's also a little great idea that of course coaches are going to say, all right, get onto the pitch, we have a game plan, get going, but things might switch up and you might be feeling another way. So in the middle of the game, when there's a lull, you're going to adjust on the fly, and it seems to be pretty effective. So love what you're doing so far.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll switch to getting to know you a little bit off the field in a second, but I'm always curious to know for goalkeepers, and you mentioned it a little bit before, you switched over from midfield to goalkeeper like 11 years old. What was that switch moment for you? Like, when were you making the decision? You're like, okay, I'm going to be in goal. What was that like?
Funny story. It actually didn't have anything to do football related. It was more so because I was playing multiple sports. So I was playing baseball and football at the same time.
Parents, are you hearing this? Multiple sports. Your kid doesn't need to be in soccer. Runs 8 years old and one.
It's so important to
I
just
agree.
to get different.
I played baseball till I was 18. Yeah,
different levels of athleticism. I just wish I played more basketball growing up as well. I wish I did, so I'd get another level of athleticism. But it's so important. So I was playing baseball and football at the same time, and sometimes it was in the spring. They overlap on a Saturday morning, so you have like 9 a.m. game on one day, and I don't even know where in North New Jersey, and then you have to drive an hour and a half just to make it back to 1 o'clock first pitch. So it came to one point it just became too much on everybody. So I made the decision to.
Was it around that age that you stopped playing?
12 years old is when I stopped. At that point, I was kind of more so a goalkeeper, but it was just more like, all right, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
But which position, pitcher, midfielder, or goalkeeper, which position do I feel like I have the best chance to make it to that next level?
Was there a coach that kind of pushed you in that direction? Like, hey, look, I see you. If you put everything into being a goalkeeper, I could see you going to play at the highest level. Was there a coach that kind of told you that, or did you notice that yourself?
It was kind of put on me, family and coaches just said, like, we believe in anything that you do.
Okay.
Just go 100% with it. And for whatever reason, 12-year-old me, I just decided to go 100% on goalkeeping.
I think you made the right choice.
I
Smart 12-year-old.
I think so too.
Oh yeah, there's a theory out there that Americans create some of the best keepers around because of our multi-sports. Like, we just have better hand-eye coordination from throwing football and all that. So I had a guy on my team in Colorado, Jamie Smith. He said if you threw something at him, he'd back up, trap it, and pick it, no matter what it was. Like, they don't use their hands. But example right here.
Now I remember growing up, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but whenever you play like a few times a year, your team will be like, all right, let's play handball to warm up, right? The coaches think it's fun. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we would do like Americans versus foreigners. And I'm telling you, the Americans would kill the foreigners.
It's not
like
fair.
there'd be guys that, they couldn't even catch the ball. And you're like, what's going on? Have you guys ever?
It all funny.
Yeah, they're throwing like it's a cricket ball or something. It's like, what is going on? So, yeah.
So pivoting to, we have to talk about something, I don't know if the fans have picked up on this yet. We do post it pretty much every match day. You're very into fashion, or at least it appears so by the outfits that you wear on match day coordinating with your wife. I have pictures of your outfits from every home match so far. I'd love to get your perspective, your kind of ranking of which ones are your favorite, and maybe give some inspo on your top 3.
Just funny story here. Before I met my wife, I was not into fashion at all. Like, this is literally what I would wear.
We get it.
on a non-game day, just sweatpants or shorts and a t-shirt. So, and my wife is so into fashion. She looks amazing. So I just thought, like, over the years, kind of just like catch up.
Yeah, let me get into that.
Every once in a while, try to get close to it. So
Perfect.
She's the mind behind. She's the master. She's
the
mind behind the whole operation. So, so let's take a look at some.
Yeah,
of this.
we're okay here to be like, my wife dresses me. I love that.
So this was
It's to the point where, like, the first couple games, like, oh, nice style. Now, like, oh, what are you wearing?
it's expected.
Exactly.
Do you feel the pressure?
I do. Like, every week, I have to
now
do a
it's too
little
much.
better. Now on a Friday night, me and my wife are like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna wear?
You don't even care about the opponent anymore.
No.
You're like, don't worry about Messi. I don't care about Messi. I gotta worry about what I'm
I
wearing.
did all my homework Monday through Thursday,
okay,
so now
exactly.
Friday night, it's all about getting the outfit. Let's take a look.
So we
at some
got
of
this
these.
was the inaugural home opener.
All right, going with navy blue, kind of matching up with San Diego colors.
Yeah.
Kind of comfy. You don't see it in this picture right here, but I'm wearing Uggs. And I wasn't feeling the Uggs. I'm like, oh, come on, first game. I got to look professional. And then my wife's like, just do it, trust me. And I go, okay. And then it ended up looking good. She was right again. So it's kind of like comfy meets, Top Gun with the leather jacket kind of thing.
Okay.
So that was a good start.
Well,
And then
yeah,
that was like the build up from the next one.
even Top Gun filmed here. So yeah.
Yes, Top Gun was filmed here.
Then we've got. See this one. I think this is the second match.
This
This one is
this
when you
one-
really popped off.
This one I feel like it's a 10 out of 10. Like the preppy kind of vibes. Those aren't prescription glasses, by the way. Going with like the preppy kind of pastel colors. For me, this is a 10 out of 10.
This
For me,
is 10.
this
Do you think
probably
this
my
is your
one.
favorite?
This is my favorite. Funny thing is, this wasn't a lot of people's favorite. The next game was people's favorite.
I think this is the next
yeah.
game.
You're getting feedback.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback. People are expecting it.
This
now.
is the next game.
This was probably one of my, I would say, top 3 maybe. She's going like really classy. I'm going more like street style, like street wear, stuff like that. This is where people are just like, yeah, every week's a little bit better. Last week was nicer than this one, But yeah, that one was probably my top 2 or 3 maybe.
Okay, well we've got
Then
another one. I think this
I got
one
the
might be a
Tony Gwynn
local
one.
fan favorite.
This one, the people love this one.
Yeah.
And I saw Tony Gwynn, like, oh, you got to shout him out. One of the best hitters of all time.
Yeah.
Got to shout him out, especially here in San Diego.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
This was another 10 out of 10, I would say.
Legend, Tony Gwynn.
Then we had this fit.
Somebody on Instagram sent me a message like, oh, where are your pants? I can't see your pants. It's camouflage.
Okay.
No, this one was a lot more simple, kind of like the Cali,
Was this the last
California.
game?
This was 2 games ago.
Oh, okay.
This was RSL. This was against RSL.
I was thinking the pants, military appreciation night.
Yeah, I was.
but-
This was
This was the last match.
This was kind of like cowgirl meets nerd, kind of the non-prescription glasses once again.
Okay.
I came in with the trench coat. People were feeling it. A couple of people weren't feeling it. The same people that weren't feeling trench coats, like, oh, you got to wear it every week now. It's a clean sheet.
Oh, yeah.
It's a clean
Hit or
sheet
miss.
trench
There you
coat.
go.
You
Superstitious, man.
got to bring it in.
Yeah.
You got to bring it in again. So I really like this one. This one was probably my 3, 4 maybe. I really like this outfit, and then the combo with my wife as well.
Going off of this, who's the worst dressed player on SDFC?
Look, he knows.
Yeah, everybody. There's always that one player.
No, it's just like it's more so the people that just come in with the San Diego.
Yes,
FC
that's what I was gonna say.
outfits.
They
I'm
just
not
wear like
gonna
a
name
San
any
Diego
names.
FC polo.
I'm not gonna name
That's
any names,
smart.
but there are a couple guys on there that you even say it on every game day. Like, come on,
Yeah.
just one outfit.
Yeah.
Just one.
It's like that
outfit.
young
Once in a
college
while.
kid that just comes in with like
No,
a
it's the
SDFC
college
polo.
kids. The college kids
Are they?
Who's got the
sundown, yeah.
best dressed other than yourself? who would you
I wouldn't
say?
even put myself up there compared to Alex. Alex Biden. He comes correct. He comes correct. It's like to the point where it's like, dang, I gotta get on the thumbnail this week. Like Alex is like 3 out of 4 times,
man.
like the first one up, like, dang, I missed it again. But he's probably the best dressed for sure. Anibal like comes correct every game as well. He comes really good, really well dressed.
Awesome. Anything?
No, that's. I mean, I can't.
That was fun.
I can't top that.
That was a lot of fun, though. That was a lot of fun.
For those who are listening to the podcast, we will show the visuals of this on our channel. So you'll be able to see all the outfits that CJ was just explaining, but you'll also get to see them every match day. Pressure is on now to continue.
Yeah, good thing I have a week off now.
There you go.
I have a week off and then another 4 home games, so I got to figure it.
Yeah,
Me and the wife, we got to figure something out. I'm like, baby, what are we wearing this week? What are we
I
wearing
keep
this
getting
week?
messages. What's going on?
Well, thanks so much, CJ, for joining the podcast. We really appreciate the time and
Thank
the
you,
insight
guys.
as
Thank you.
always.
for having
Keep
me.
up the
It's an
clean
absolute
sheets. Well
pleasure.
done.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
As the official specialty insurance partner of San Diego FC, Palomar offers standalone earthquake insurance that protects property and peace of mind. It's crucial to be prepared. Visit plmr.com or contact your insurance agent for a quote. Palomar, reimagining specialty insurance with innovative, creative solutions.
What's up, everybody? This is Marvell Wynn of the official SDFC podcast. And guess what? It's not too late to become a founding season ticket member of San Diego FC, just like me. Memberships start at just $40 per match. You can learn more at sandiegofc.com/tickets/memberships. Become a founding member like me and get your name on the founding member wall like me. This opportunity is ending soon.
Welcome back in. We are joined by assistant coach Frank Hjortebjerg. We've just been chatting about the results, 5-0 versus Dallas. Just want to get your overall opinion on just kind of how that match went from your perspective.
Yeah, it would be tough not to say that it went pretty good. Obviously, we've had 3 games with a very different result. And we all know in football it goes up and down, and it's perfectly normal. But of course, a 5-0 at home on the backside of these other 3 games was very nice for everyone.
Yeah, so obviously a result of 5-0 is a complete, utter win, right? But I'd like you to speak a little bit about not only the result, but also like how the game went. Was it, I've heard you guys speak a lot about, we're trying to make that complete game where from start to finish, we're just ourselves and we just dominate from start to finish. Was that this game, or from a result standpoint, yes, but from a playing style and the way you want it to look like, was it?
I think it's the closest one we've had so far, especially because we felt like the game picture was in our favor throughout the whole game. I think our analysis is if we play it again, we would be very lucky if we managed to get 5 again.
Yeah.
So it was probably not a 5-0 performance, I'll say. It was maybe more like a 2-0 or 3-0, which is also decent.
Yeah.
So I think it's the closest one to a game that represents our identity from minute 0 to 90. Still a lot of things to improve, but a good step in the right direction.
When it comes up to after having such a victory like that and the week building up to the next game, clearly after, going, 3 in a row, not getting a victory, to getting a 5-0 win is also a different way that you're going to approach this upcoming week. So from the learning aspect of things, is it more so going back to the basics from the beginning, or is it like what we just did last weekend, try to just play as similar as you can before, home or away, just try to maintain the ball, maintain possession, and obviously release our forwards and our wingers when they can?
So actually we had a pretty decent feeling, and our analysis after the Salt Lake game was that the first half was good. If we could repeat that first half in the second half or in the next game, we felt like we would be in a good position because that had many of the aspects that we wanted to. So despite it being a loss and the third one in a row, we actually felt that we were moving in the right direction. So the trick for us was not to start to change anything. The trick for us is, and for me it's normal because I've been part of this organization for many years, but the trick for us was to convince the players that, listen, that first half was actually a step in the right direction. It's not a time to change anything. We'll never change anything drastically, but it's not a time to change. It's a time to get better. Because if we repeat that first half and keep improving in our style of play, then the results are very, very close to arriving. Of course, you never know if it will be next game, but we had a very good feeling. So when we walked into the game, we knew that Dallas is very strong in the transitional moments. So they counter press very, very well. They're very fast. They sometimes have these players high up the pitch, even when they defend, that you need to be very aware of when you lose the ball. So we knew that we had to play a game where we were very compact in our positions with the ball to avoid those transitions against us. And I think that was one of the key aspects of the game, that Dallas have killed so many teams in these transitional moments where everything seems calm and under control. And then in a short second, they're running towards your own goal. So that balance that we actually think we had a little bit of in the first half against Salt Lake, I think we managed to bring that into a long period of the game.
I want you to dive in a little bit, because when I watched the game, obviously different player personnel in different positions kind of result in a little bit different style, right, of the game. So can you walk us through starting kind of Anders as that, 9?
Yeah.
But it was, obviously it seemed a little bit like he's the false 9 with some speedy wingers on the side of him. Why was that, the tactic going into it, or what made you feel like that gave you guys the best chance to win this game?
So in the beginning of the season, we were one of the teams, if not the team, that was lowest in the whole MLS in regards to dribblings and offensive 1v1s.
Okay.
So we've solved the initial part of our build-up very well in many of the games. We've managed to stay pretty calm on the ball against pressing teams. But what we've sometimes lacked is to create that spark that you sometimes need to break a defense that's under control, to break that.
Yeah.
And we had the chance of starting with both Alex and Irving, which have some of
that ability.
They both have the speed with and without the ball, so they can threaten that back line with and without the ball in behind. And then we had to find the right mix. So how do you put these two guys on the pitch at the same time and also keeping Anders on the pitch?
Yeah.
And what he's been doing is coming mostly from the right side and then moving in.
Yep.
It just has, we can put him in the same offensive position, but imagine you as, if you're on the back line, you see a guy moving from the sideline and then in. Usually it will be the fullback or wingback following him. But what do they do if suddenly that guy comes from central
starts
area?
fading into that
area?
Yeah.
It's just, he will maybe end up in the same position.
Yeah.
But just the fact that his starting position is different, that challenged these central center backs way more. So our idea was, okay, we will have Alex and Irving high up the pitch with speed and dribbling abilities to challenge the backline. And we could still keep Anders close to the build-up and giving him these positions behind their midfielders to set these guys up in situations. Plus, like you said, starting position more central on the pitch, he will naturally be in the box in more periods of the game. So that was some of the thought process behind these three guys in their positions.
Yeah, because if I'm a center back, Marv, you played center back, I played there a little bit. When there's a forward that you're used to playing a traditional 9 who's backing up against you, who's turning, making the runs, and your focus is on him. Now that player starts to fade deeper, right? Do you follow him and then leave the space behind for the wingers to run him behind? Or do you hold back, and then now he has all that space to just get it and turn, and he's the playmaker on the other team? It's just it's a tough scenario to deal with. Plus, obviously, San Diego style of play is building up more, so you don't really feel like it's, you still have enough players on that back line to where the traditional 9 high isn't really needed, right? Because you'll have 4 or 5 guys sometimes, in a line up top. So I thought it was a brilliant thing to see how, it's interesting because, San Diego has their style of play, but within their style of play, it's like, what are the little tweaks, player personnel that you guys can do to then break down a team? And I saw that, and I thought it was great decision.
I think that it's always easier when
you're like,
well, I appreciate
we knew that would happen.
but I think the 2 goals illustrated pretty well.
Yeah.
So on the first goal, we have a long sequence of build-up. We have 25-30 passes. And Alex ends up like going inside, taking that dribble.
Yeah.
That spark
you
that we
talked about,
sometimes need. Where in other games
Absolutely.
we have been forced, just because it's a different profile,
Yeah.
we've been forced to make another pass.
Yeah.
And we got to get better at that. Also, we got to break them down with passes also. But sometimes you need that. And he created that before the penalty. And on the second goal, you have Anders dropping in that pocket space where he's been so good, but
Great
coming
goal,
from a more
yeah.
central area. You have Irving and Alex wider. And they both actually have a deep run within that sequence. And then, like you said, when Anders drops, that center back is all of a sudden thinking, okay, do I have to follow him or not? If you follow him, then you have Irving running in behind you, all the way from the other side of the pitch. So we try to make it as uncomfortable for these guys as
I
possible.
didn't even like the way that sounded. That almost made me sweat. Like,
What do I do?
They get behind you and just yell at whoever's in front of you.
I also thought it was cool that, we talked about it a little bit off camera, Marv and I, is like how many times as a young player, Willie, for example, right? He gives a pass away in the last game that results in a goal from Luna. How many times have we been benched the very next game for something like that? And so the trust for you guys to get a player like that back on the field and for him to perform well was cool to see. A lot of trust in the young players. And then obviously the 18-year-old from San Jose, the new player. Yes, Oscar. Yeah, new player came in. I thought he did really well as well from the right. He looked really comfortable. Kept the ball moving, made good runs. So just overall, the player personnel choices and the game itself was a really good game.
The situation you mentioned with Willie is so crucial in regards to our whole methodology and whole way of seeing these guys, because like you guys know, obviously, but football is a game of mistakes.
Oh, for sure.
And if that pass he makes doesn't result in a goal, like 80% of the people he'll face, they'll not even remember that he made that mistake.
Yeah, because there was 4 or 5 in this last game that were giveaways that could have very well resulted.
What we told Willie actually right after he makes this mistake was that he had, because it was right in the end of the half.
Yeah.
Listen, you played your best half in the SDFC jersey.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change because of one thing doesn't change it.
Yeah.
So he just had to keep going. And then many of the mistakes that passes that you mentioned in this game came from Chris McVeigh.
Yeah.
But he also solves a lot of the other situations.
And he's been a good passer all season.
He's got to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, yes, it ends up in a mistake, but it does that for everyone.
Yeah.
We cannot change because of a mistake. We cannot change because we concede a goal that way, because then we will never be good at it. Like, you cannot demand these guys to be good at building out from the back and then say, why do you make this mistake? That was so stupid. So the situation you mentioned with Willie is really a good example and a crucial example for us in player development.
I want to see if you can provide some context to these numbers. Our friends at Botmobit pointed out that we are leading the league in accurate passes per match ahead of Columbus, sitting just behind Columbus in terms of completed passes for the season. Have top 3 players, Chris McVeigh, Yeppe, Patty, also leading the league in passes attempted. Can you just provide a little bit of context and what that means in terms of the game?
Yeah, so it's not a success on its own. Like, it's not something that we're chasing just for the sake of having a lot of passes or high possession, but it is a crucial way for us in terms of building a structured offensive game. So we structure a lot of it with positions and passes. And again, I think this game is a good example where we are the best when we have many passing sequences where you have 20 plus passes, because it just makes the team able to travel together and not being vulnerable in these transitional moments. And I've been sitting in this chair after some games where we spoke about actually not being able to handle those transitional moments in a good way.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to handle those moments is to take good care of the little round thing that's very important in this game. And if you don't have a lot of passes, many times you end up spread out. You end up not being able to play a structured game. And for us, this means that the game picture will be in the opponent's favor. So it's not necessarily a successful criteria on its own, but it's many times linked to good performances for us.
I think a good example of this probably is the second goal that Irving scored, or you see the play basically built out the entire field. We talked a little bit earlier in the match of just what that shows in terms of the style of play, but we have a great drone angle of what that looks like. If you don't mind kind of looking at this and breaking it down for us on how this play develops.
So we have this saying that when the opponent is far, play close. When the opponent is close, play far. And this is the best illustration because early on in the sequence, they are not in our faces. We connect 2 or 3 passes, then they want to step up, and then that pocket space opens up for us. So if we don't have the first 2 or 3 passes close to our own goal, we will never have the next phase in the game. So when we pass to CJ here and he connects passes with Paddy and Anibal, Jeppe coming close, now the space is there in the pocket. We just spoke about Anders coming from that central area. Now the center back is a little bit...
He gets put in no man's land right
this
there.
gets a little dizzy, right? And then we're able to find a through pass that breaks the last line. So it's a good example of why we many times have a lot of passes, why we will probably be one of the higher teams in terms of possession. It's because this is one way for us to structure our offensive game.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of just giving you all the praise in the world when it comes to the coaches and the staff and all that stuff. Because it seemed like, before you were saying that there might be trouble finding that spark, a little bit of explosiveness. And then we went the other route to trying to just get sparks, try to play it forward and then see what we can capitalize on. And now it actually looks to be a balance because you did see a lot of the passing outside of pressure within the back and then knowing when to release certain players up top. Do you believe that certain players needed a little bit of confidence playing out the back again? So you tried to work that into them as well as being able to see that when they come close, you play far to know exactly when to release and not just have it be your first choice.
I think what they needed was to feel that we trust them. They needed to feel that we still have a lot of confidence in our style of play and what they do. And it's just all part of the process. So we cannot start to go like this after 3 losses because then the players will feel it, obviously, and then they will never develop. So of course it can be difficult for us as coaches, but like the praise should go to the guys, right? Because they are the ones in the stadium actually having to deliver these things that we tell them to. So I think what our task was to convince them that they were moving in the right direction despite 3 losses and despite the struggles that we had in these games because we struggled in some periods of the games for sure. And then just getting better at what we do. Being clear on our principles. What does this look like when we do it well? What does it look like when we don't do it well? Or when we go outside our principles? And then making sure that we convince them enough to go out there and deliver it in the stadium. So I think that was our task. Like, I'm not sure that we had to give them confidence because more confidence in what we're doing and what we are aiming for. Than me having like Willie was flying the next day. Chris is flying today. It's more that we got to create an environment where they feel safe enough to go into that process. More than me saying, "Hey, by the way, Kaila, you're excellent at what you're doing." That's like the superficial part. But when they really feel that, okay, listen, these guys, like Mikey is not wavering. He wants us to keep going. I just threw the ball away 3 times. Yeah. I just gave a goal by my mistake, but he still wants me to go. Yeah. So that gives them the confidence, that gives them the security that they need psychologically to keep going.
We've all been like psychologically as a player that plays with fear is 10 not even close to the player that you can be when you have the confidence and when you have a coach behind you that knows and believes in you. So if you can create that environment, man, it's literally like night and day. It could be a team having an excellent season and a team being obviously not in MLS, but like relegation zone, and like terrible.
Trust is actually a core in what we do, both in terms of developing people, but also the style of play. Yeah. So if we are in a backline together, you have to be so aggressive and just trust that I will follow you when you go and put pressure. If you have a second thought, you're already late in going into putting pressure. So, for example, Oscar coming in, If he starts to doubt and needs to analyze too much whether we are following him, then we cannot be intense
Done.
enough.
It's over again.
And it's the same. It's same with the ball. It's so much built on the trust of each other and the trust of the principals.
Yeah, because we all had coaches that say, soccer is a game of mistakes, but it does mean a lot when, as coaches, you practice what you preach. You say it's a game of mistakes, so it's going to happen. But then after that, you're saying, I have enough confidence in you. So in the end, as we talked about previously, the comfort that each player has on the pitch allows them to be confident in order to show their own personality, which adds and provides more for the game.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty incredible actually being able to see it, because the way that we play it looks so structured. Everybody needs to be in the right place at the right time with the same amount of creativity and being able to do moves and do whatever you feel is right in the moment, but it still works within the process. So it's just fun seeing it all come together.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead to the match this weekend, taking on St. Louis City, the team that we've also already seen before. What can you tell us in this match preview presented by Alaska Airlines about what you're seeing in St. Louis?
Yeah, so St. Louis have had a very, very strong defensive performance throughout the first games. And we struggled to break them down when we played them last time. I think they've started to change a little bit, putting a little bit more players forward and also wanting to score more goals and be a bit more offensive-minded. And then we'll see what kind of approach they will take against us. But for sure, we got to be better at breaking them down than we were last time. So last time, for example, we had many passes in front of them, but we never really managed to break that defensive line of theirs. They did very well against us. So we already now, today in training, started to look at different structures and different behaviors for us to break down a lower block, where they've been very strong, without us losing the control of the transitional moments.
Yeah, that's St. Louis is maybe the toughest opponent, to go against, in the sense that how far they sit back, how like to keep the game in front of you. It's going to be difficult to get, Chucky running in behind against a team like this. There's going to be probably at least 70% possession at moments for SDFC. So it's just a kind of a different game that you just went off of, right? Dallas is running at you guys, and you're able to find those balls into unders, and then he can turn and play in behind again. And this game's just I remember when they came here, I went to that game and I watched St. Louis, and it was like they didn't even care to press you guys. They just were like, let's keep the game in front of us. Let's shift. And obviously it resulted with a scoreline. So for me as a player, I hated playing against teams with low blocks, because you feel like you're in control of this game the whole time because you're keeping possession. I got 75% possession. We're all over them. But really, it's just a tactic of theirs, right? So you just, it's so hard to score. They talk about get it wide, get crosses in. That's where the space is. But until you get that first goal, it's so hard to break down as a player, and I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, but that's true. Like sometimes the game picture can be so closed.
Yeah,
and they close all the spaces down. So you gotta figure out a way. If you cannot break it down with passes or with that dribble, what else can you do to open up the game?
Yeah,
one way is that sometimes you can make them defend backwards. You can make them run towards their own goal.
Okay.
And then build the pressure or build the counter pressure from there, because they have to react to that.
Yeah.
They need to react to a pass behind that defensive line.
Yeah.
Even though the space might be very limited, they will still have to respect that.
Yeah.
And then it can look like that it happens more random.
Yeah.
But for us, it's making sure that whenever this happens, whenever we put the ball behind their defensive line, let's say that's the case, how are we positioned for the next phase after? How can we make them unbalanced from certain situations?
Yeah.
That could be one example.
Yeah.
And then we'll see, like they've also had at least period of the games where they really wanted to go and press high, and really wanted to step up.
Especially at home, right? Maybe they switch that up a little bit, but
that's out of our control what they do. But we gotta make sure that we're prepared.
Second balls can be a killer. Try to play it over the top. They look back. They try to head it out. Then all of a sudden, Annabelle's right there.
Yeah.
Receive it, boss out to the left.
Is there a scenario or a moment where you maybe say, okay, St. Louis, like, let's let you guys dictate the game, start coming at us a little bit, and then we can use that as a moments to get behind them instead of, going at them 100%. And now the game is pretty much in their end, which they expected to do. Is there ever thinking like, hey, let's let them have the ball a little bit. Let's back up. Let's go to the top of the circle or the half and let them try to dictate the game because they're not used to that, right? And then once they get it picked off, now we have that space then behind, which we didn't have before.
It would probably never happen like in a way where we give them the initiative.
Completely, yeah.
Because what we don't want to lose is the initiative.
The style. Yeah.
So can we do that in a way where, and it's always a debate, who has the initiative?
Yeah.
But if we can do it in a way where we still feel like we have the initiative, where we can still demand where they're playing, and then being able to put the game more in our favor in that way, for sure it can happen in period game. 100%. But what you will never see us is doing it in a way where we're just waiting for them to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes too reactive for us. So we will always have the ambition of being the team with the most initiative in the game. And then you can do that with or without the ball.
Yeah.
100%.
Interesting. All right.
Thank you so much, Frank, again, for joining the podcast. We always appreciate the conversation and the insight that you provide. Once again, this is our match preview presented by Alaska Airlines. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Big news from 18 Threads. New merch is available in store and at 18threads.com. So whether you're heading to Snapdragon Stadium or just repping SDFC around town, 18 Threads has you covered. Stop by Mission Valley or shop online at 18threads.com. Matchday at Snapdragon Stadium just got even better. Members now get lower parking rates when you reserve ahead. Less stress, more time to settle in and enjoy the day. Lock in your spot early and save.
Then it's straight to Member Happy Hour, presented by Cutwater. $7 beers, $8 crafts, $10 canned cocktails, all starting 45 minutes before gates open. Perfect time to catch up, settle into your match day.
Got the kids with you? FanFest now has more games, activities, and kid-friendly zones built for more fun for the whole family before the kickoff.
If you're tailgating, we've enhanced the experience with more restrooms and trash stations. Less waiting, less mess, more time to fire up the grill and connect with your crew.
Once you're inside Snapdragon Stadium, we've raised the game too. Premium members now can grab San Diego classics like Hodads and Shawarma Guys, and there's more kid-friendly eats across all club levels.
And if you're in the Pitch Boxes Founder Club, make time for 90 before 90. Local guest chefs, specialty cocktails, all before the action kicks off.
From the first parking spot to the final whistle, it's a match day built for San Diego.
Bring your family, bring your friends. We'll see you at Snapdragon Stadium. Guys, great insight from Frank, as always. Now, what are you looking for in this match this weekend versus St. Louis City?
Yeah, definitely. It's always great to talk to Frank. He's love his insights and all that stuff. And talking to CJ, I mean, he was pretty open. He was pretty communicative. He was fun to talk to, especially with his fashion sense and all that stuff. So really like these guys on this team being open and be able to share their times with all of us and then all of you. This weekend, again, now we get to bounce back from a completely different situation than before. From 3 losses in a row to a huge win of 5-0, playing another team that we've played again in the past, and they're kind of annoying to break down. So, what do you think?
And I think Frank spoke about it a little bit, but I think SDFC, the first time they played them, we didn't do a good enough job breaking them down, especially at home. It was a big match at home, and we couldn't get a goal, and it was a little bit frustrating. Now, going away from home, I still think that's just St. Louis's style. Maybe they come out a little bit, but I think having seen them for an entire game, now being able to kind of see the identity that St. Louis has, I expect them to do a lot better job breaking down the low block that St. Louis is going to bring to them.
Yeah, reminder, the last team San Diego FC faced this team was the inaugural home match. So obviously a lot of pressure on that match, 0-0 result. But it'll be interesting to see how, like you said, how this team comes after their largest margin of victory versus FC Dallas and goes to play a team that they've already played before this season.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, right? There's a few times now where they've is this the second time they're playing another team that they played? Okay, yeah. So the first one was Salt Lake, but yeah, I mean, and last time they weren't able to come up on top against Salt Lake. So let's see what happens. But I take my chances with SDFC, especially with St. Louis struggling a little bit to score goals. So I'm hoping SDFC takes this one. If we can get a score prediction, I'm gonna say 2-1 SDFC.
First score prediction on the podcast
Yeah.
coming from Sal.
I'm not doing that. What I'm curious about to watch is, going a little bit off of what Frank said about if they like, sitting back, then how do we make them uncomfortable with balls over the top because they have to react to it. So there has been an evolution of the SDFC team from the first time they played them. So before, a lot of passes in the back, maybe not having that spark about the attacking prowess about us, but now we have that. So we are actually going to be a very different team than what they're used to seeing or what they remember playing against us, where they might be the same. So with our scouting and the way our new style is, I think it's going to be, we're going to surprise them a little bit. And I'm actually excited to see what we do away.
May is a huge month for San Diego FC. 7 games this month. We're down 1 game. We've got 6 more to go. There are 5 home games in this month of May. So we actually won't have a show next week. We've got 2 home matches, Wednesday and Saturday. So we'll see you back on the 21st to recap St. Louis City, Colorado, and Sporting Kansas City. This weekend, if you won't be able to attend the match in St. Louis and you want to be able to celebrate with your fellow supporters, there will be a watch party at Novo Brazil Brewing in Mission Valley from 4 to 8 p.m. The kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Next Wednesday, you'll be able to, just like last Saturday when you heard Marv on the call, you'll be able to hear Sal on the call for the Colorado match.
I will be there, yes, with Adrian. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just getting to get the whole experience of showing up to the stadium and going into the booth and getting to watch the game and call it from up there. It should be a fun experience.
It's awesome. And make sure that we also want to make sure we're giving a shout out to support. Every Wednesday night, you can catch Darren Smith, Warren Barton, and Adrian Garcia Marquez on the SDFC Midweek Live radio show. So make sure to give them a listen as well. We love the support and we love being able to get to hear you guys on the radio call as well.
They're all great. Please check them out. They're great people.
Next Saturday, we also have a really fun one for you guys at home. It is Kids Night presented by the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Association. And if you are in attendance, you will be able to receive the opportunity to get this free giveaway, these lovely shoelaces. So make sure there's going to be a lot of fun activations. It's great to be able to, work in coordination with the San Diego Zoo, an awesome organization here in San Diego. So there's going to be so many fun crossovers at this match. Please make sure that you are there to support. Make sure you're there early as well. Fan Fest, supporters tailgate, Marv's favorite place.
I love it there.
And continue to like, subscribe, leave a review, comment. We love to hear from you guys.